Hey y'all, welcome back to the 7th episode of another Black Girl podcast. Technically, this episode should be the 6th because the last was the bonus, but whatever. Let's start the theme song. This is another Black Girl podcast. Black Girl. We're doing our best to make it last. This is another Black Girl podcast. Black Girl. We're doing our best to make it last. Another Black Girl podcast. Yes. So this episode is going to be about artistic expression because I was inspired by the bonus. Well, I wouldn't really call it inspiration. I just have a funny story. And then from there, we're going to talk about some real stuff. So stay tuned. Before I start, I just want to give a big thank you to all of my listeners who have been listening and staying tuned and supporting me along the way. Since the last episode, I think the amount of total plays has doubled on Anchor, the primary podcasting platform that I use. If you want to become a monthly supporter, you can go to anchor.fm/anotherbgp. And then there's going to be a button that says support. So if you want to do that, if you have the means to, if you don't, everything's appreciated, including your streams. If you haven't listened to the last episode, it wasn't really an episode. Technically, it was a bonus, but Season 1, Episode 6, I included some of my original poetry. I think the episode was like 10 minutes. So before you listen to this one, listen to that one, because it's going to make sense eventually. But as I was saying, I am so glad to see the listener support grow despite geographic location, listening platforms, gender, age, race, all that stuff. I am so glad that you are here and that you are listening. And if you haven't already, enter my giveaway. On my socials, I am on Instagram at anotherbgi, Twitter at anotherbgt, Facebook at anotherbgf. So yeah, I'm going to be hosting a giveaway. I am hosting a giveaway on my 3 social platforms. Enter to win some free merch. I don't know why that sounded like that. I'm sorry. But yeah, enter to win. I'm giving away free stuff. I'm literally giving it away. So just submit. Follow the directions and you might win. So yeah, let's get into the episode. So, funny story is, when I was in, I think it was intermediate school. I don't even know what intermediate school is. It's the bridge between middle school. No, junior high and elementary school. So I was in middle school, and before I knew that I was going to like go to school, go to college for something dramatic, I was like a normal kid, I guess. I don't know, whatever. And I wrote this poem and I submitted it in my English class, and it was like super angsty. And to be honest, like I didn't really know where it came from. Like in middle school, and like sometimes like things will just come to me and I'll write them down and then like expand the idea. So that's what I did. This poem came to me about like an angsty girl like sitting on the beach, and she was like alone and sad, and there was like thunder, but like honestly, like I'm telling you, like the way I saw it, like it was a white girl, so like it couldn't have been me. But like it wasn't me. So like I read this poem and I submit it to my English teacher for like extra credit. My English teacher freaking escalated it to like the school social worker, and they brought me in. Well, this woman brought me in. I don't even remember her name. She brought me in and sat me down, and she had like the poem in her possession and like pulls it out and like sits at the table like very quietly and like very calm, and was like, essentially,
I saw that you wrote this poem, and your English teacher and I are a little concerned.
So like me being like 10, about 10, was sitting there mad confused. Like I was just trying to get this extra credit popping on, sis. Like I don't know what you're talking about. And she basically went on to tell me that if I am struggling or if I'm like extra sad, basically she was, to paraphrase, she was asking me if I was like depressed or like suffering or was diagnosed or being treated for some kind of mental illness. Like, what? What? So I was confused, and I'm sitting there, and she was like, is there anything you would like to share with me? And I'm shady. So I sat there and looked at her straight in her face and was like,
No.
and she was like,
Is there anything that's like going on at home or like after school or wherever? And I was like,
No.
so this woman basically like starts badgering me and like giving me all of these questions. And I know like it's her job. Clearly back then I know it was her job. But I know it was her job, but like after a certain point, it was like I was sitting there and she's talking and I'm answering all these questions. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm about to be like held hostage until I give her the answer she wants. So this woman like keeps badgering me. And after a while, like I got it. Like she's not going to let me go. Like the bell was ringing, like it was lunchtime. Now I'm hungry. Like I'm hungry. Let me go. So middle school me in my mind is like, okay, she's not going to let me go. I have to figure something. I have to get out of here. And like, I'm not just going to like get up and run away. Cause like, what if they find me and like give me detention? So in my mind, I'm just like, here's what's about to go down. So while I'm answering these questions in the most like serious, deadpan ways, I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? Since she's not understanding, I got it. I'm about to start crying. So she keeps asking me questions. And I remember she was like,
do you ever feel like you're just overwhelmed with emotions?
like, ma'am, literally everyone gets overwhelmed with Jesus got overwhelmed with emotions on several accounts. So like, what is am I human? Yes, the answer is yes. So she asked me that, and I remember like crying because I was so frustrated and because I just wanted to get out. So I started crying, and I was like, like sometimes it's just hard. And I don't even remember what I said, to be honest, but it was all a lie. Like I wasn't serious. I just wanted to get out. So based on my response, like this woman, she like made me read my poem to her and was like, what do you think that means? I know what it means. I wrote it, but whatever. So this woman wound up letting me go when the day was over. She wound up calling my mom and telling her what was going on. So, in addition to being held hostage for a full school day, I had to go home and face my mother. So I come home and my mom is like,
so I hear that you wrote some kind of poem and somebody thinks you're like depressed.
So I'm like, Mom, like, here we go again. I just came out of like 8 hours of this and now I gotta face it with my mom. So like now I'm really about to be held hostage. And then my mom was like,
I heard that when a lady like asked you about it, that you started crying. So why were you crying?
So my mom is like badgering me again. Badgered Lauren. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I just wanted to get out. I wanted to get out. That was it. That's why I was crying. I was frustrated and I just wanted to go home at that point. And honestly, like, I thought my mom was going to get like super like weird or like turn up on me because she probably thought I was lying or something. And she was like, you know what? Like, okay. But she was like, like in your artistic expression, just become a little more selective of who reads it because sometimes it won't be taken in the way that you intend it. And I think that was some phenomenal advice for my mother to offer 10-year-old Lauren. So now when this moment in history is remembered, my sister always makes it a habit of bringing it up and getting the family to laugh about it because I can't lie, it was kind of funny. And in that moment, I probably shouldn't have cried because it freaked that woman out. But I wanted to get out. And you're not about to hold me hostage, okay? That's not how it's about to go. So whatever. So based off of that story, I wanted to talk about artistic expression, especially in terms of children, because it's important to be well-rounded on the road to becoming a self-actualized person. So when I say artistic, I mean there's like 8 forms usually, but whatever. The 8 forms are painting, drawing, sculpting, needlework, drama, music, dance, creative writing, and photography. Clearly, these aren't the only forms of art, and art is subjective. So I'm talking about whatever you think and whatever you deem is art, because all art is good art. The National Endowment for the Arts says that the arts can foster openness to novelty, encourages connections to people, places, things, and concepts, and promotes the ability to take multiple perspectives, among other positive outcomes. Arts education also benefits children and people in general by improving motor skills, language development, decision-making, visual learning, inventiveness, cultural awareness, and improved academic performance. In my research, one of the most important things that I discovered that arts education can do for a child or person in general is improve their emotion regulation skill and ability. Emotion regulation is the ability to exert control over one's own emotional state. It may involve behaviors such as rethinking a challenging situation to reduce anger or anxiety, hiding visible signs of sadness or fear, or focusing on reasons to feel happy or calm. On Psychology Today, there was a study that showed that participants in art-based groups reported a significant increase in positive emotions along with a decrease in negative emotions during and immediately after arts-based activity. Notably, adults with chronic mental health conditions such as schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and substance use disorders also derived emotional benefits in comparison to a control group of healthy adults. Not only is human interaction essential in forming a great human being who can contribute to society, in addition to academics like science, history, English, math, all of the above, arts education is so important. And like I said earlier in the episode, like if you didn't know, I went to college for musical theater, which is very artistic. So this is a topic very near and dear to my heart. In July, the New York Times published an article about how the New York City budget cut nearly 11% of its cultural affairs. Cultural affairs mostly includes all of the artistic stuff that is in the budget. And clearly, we know the vibes, we know the patterns. In low-income neighborhoods, when the budget suffers, the arts education is the first to go. This article goes on to say that about $15 million in arts education services in the Department of Education was cut. It also says that among those reductions, the new budget cuts 3/4 of the funding for a program that has organizations like the Brooklyn Academy of Music, or BAM, providing music arts instructions for schools. It also goes on to give some facts that are quite discouraging. The city's cultural after-school adventures program, which facilitates workshops for children in areas like theater and music, was assigned $14.3 million compared with last year's $17.3 million. Funding for the Cultural Immigrant Initiative, which finances groups that serve immigrant communities or focus on the cultural history of immigrants in the city, was cut by nearly 14%. And according to this article, the Bronx Children's Museum is being cut by all sides. I could go on about the list of cuts or things that will suffer because of them, but clearly, most importantly, it's our children. So when people hear stats like this, they usually ask, what can we do? What can we do? For us, we're not lawmakers. And it's quite easy and quite understandable to feel like your hands are tied because you aren't a cog in the machine. What you can do is advocate for a change. In a lot of these protests, the chants are usually as follows: no justice, no peace, no racist police. It usually has an expletive in there, but usually paired with that chant is one that subject matter resembles or touches on defunding the police. And that is the point I want to make. Defunding the police is so important. I can't speak about other states because, quite frankly, New Yorkers only care about New York. So the NYPD's budget was $6 billion. And recently, surprisingly, it was cut to $5 billion. So, on CNN, an article was posted, sorry about all the articles, that stated that the Department of Education, the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, and the Department of Homelessness Services would be benefiting from this cut. In my opinion, defunding the police is a great thing because it can go towards the funding of social services. Like I said a couple seconds ago, mental health, social work, addiction, homelessness. These are all causes that need more funding. And even in terms of the National Endowment for the Arts, that source that I quoted earlier, according to this new budget, there's no money for them. So there's a lot that can be done. And we could have guessed that not everybody's going to be happy about this, but you know what? Whatever. And in the state of New York, crime has gone up in a pandemic. So we are facing multiple pandemics, yes, but $1 billion has been taken away from the police department to fund other social programs. And de Blasio said that it's going to be a balancing act because crime rates have only increased. And that's just the fact of the matter. But when people advocate for the abolition or the defunding of police, they are emphasizing and highlighting that a portion of this crime is avoidable if more money would be pumped into these social services. My reason for believing in the defunding and advocating for the defunding of the police is because I believe in the good of the community. Of course, usually New Yorkers will look at you in your face and eat their bacon, egg, and cheese and be like, don't talk to me, boo. But when it really matters, I've seen New Yorkers pull together. And regardless of state, location, creed, color, race, in my mind and at the bottom of my heart, I truly do wish and hope that we can form a better community for each and every person involved. So, to the NYPD, open your purse. Make it happen, feel me? Because we aren't getting any younger. Our kids are getting older. And without arts education, we don't want to strip our children of that. I played the flute in middle school, it was cute. It was cute with my little flute case and stuff. But that's not the point. The goal is to form not just artistic geniuses, but emotionally competent, financially competent adults who are in tune with their emotions and know how to raise children and don't foster communities where homophobia and transphobia and racism exist. We want to create a community that operates like a community, that moves with the community's best interest at heart in the forefront, not the background. A community in which these well-rounded adults will be able to feed the homeless, come home to their kids, teach them how to balance a checkbook. I mean, those don't really exist anymore, but whatever. Buy stocks, teach them how to be in great relationships, regardless of gender identity, preference, or sexual orientation. For the good of the community, not for the individual good. That is the goal. So getting off my soapbox, that ties into this episode and the bonus from last week, because art is important. And this is probably going to be a whole nother episode, but while the pandemic is doing what it does, a whole industry is out of commission. Artists are the salt of society. We are the ones that document, comment, and suggest better ways to operate through any era in history. So while you listen to this, please keep an artist in mind. And also you yourself, even if you don't have the resume, the qualifications, the agent, the headshot, whatever, you are still an artist, because there is an artist in all of us. I don't care if you're a photographer, an actor, a sculptor, a musician, a dancer, even if you organize them Skittles on your desk by color, or if you organize them files on your desk by letter or by number, you are still an artist. Why? Because there is an artist in all of us. There is an inner child in all of us that wants to explore its artistic side. As we get older and more jaded, as our hair begins to gray, we lose the artistic side of us. Don't let it go, because all of the things that I said contributes to the formation of great upstanding citizens, also contributes to who you are as a person. You are capable, and you are an artist. All of those things that children can benefit from by arts education, you can benefit from. Even if it's writing a short story today, do it. I mean, like, what do you have to lose? There is an artist in all of us. And in a pandemic, we're sitting at home waiting for something, I guess. Why not tap into that dormant side of you? There's nothing better to do. I guess you could light a fire, but like, who's going to do that in New York? So why not? So from one artist to another, make it happen. And for me, this podcast is part of making it happen. Even if it's not explicitly art in terms of the forms that I mentioned earlier in this episode, like I said, art is subjective. For me, it's podcasting. For you, like I said, it might be sorting out them Skittles on your desk. Flex that muscle. That side of your brain has been waiting for you. Release the inner child and make it happen. So for this episode, these affirmations are going to be really short, sweet, and simple. There's two. The first one is, I take the time and space that I need. Again, I take the time and space that I need. In the society in which we live, we usually think that we have to be productive because that is the currency which we build our lives upon. The first question we ask after who are you or what's your name is, what do you do? We have to be productive. And it's sad to say, but a large part of that productivity comes at the expense of yourself. So while you've been productive during this quarantine, have you taken the time to at least check in with yourself? Over these past few months, what have you done for yourself outside of a business, outside of your brand? What have you done? So for this next week, I need you to take that time and space that you need, because only you're going to create that safe place, that haven. Only you can find that solace within yourself. And the last affirmation is, I am here and I am present for myself. Again, I am here and I am present for myself. These two go hand in hand, clearly. So make sure you are doing that. And being here and present can be you finding that artistic outlet. Be present. Cook dinner. Eat it by yourself. Watch Netflix. Go on a date with yourself. Do your hair, wash it, blow dry it, do something. Give yourself a manicure or a pedicure. Why not? We're in a pandemic. So please take care of yourself. That's all I'm saying. Take care of yourself. You are your own keeper before you can be your brother's. Because how can you take care of your brother if you can't take care of you? Or your sister or your sibling. How can you do that? How can you show up for other people if you can't show up for you first? Feel me? So with that being said, first of all, defund the police. Pump that money into social programs. Create a better society. And let's operate in terms of the community as a whole and not just our individual selves. If you feel like you should give somebody some money who is less fortunate than you, then maybe you should. If you want to donate to a non-for-profit while you're listening to this, maybe you should. I'm just saying. Second of all, I love you, and I'm so grateful that you tuned in to this episode. Third, enter this giveaway because I'm tired of saying it, and I want to give you the free merch. So enter. Fourth, follow me on the socials. Again, my Instagram is another BGI. My Facebook is another BGF. And my Twitter is another BGT. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. Regardless of country, language, location, age group, sexual orientation, and or gender identity, I love y'all, and I'm so grateful for you. I feel like I've been doing this and speaking to you for forever now, but it's only been a few months, which is very strange. So anyways, stay tuned. Follow me on the socials for more updates. I love you, and I'll speak to you soon. Wash your hands, stay safe, and the mask goes above your nose. From your internet friend, Lauren, Lori, Laura, whatever. This is another Black Girl Podcast. We're doing our best to make it last. This is another Black Girl Podcast. We're doing our best to make it last. Another Black Girl Podcast. Bye, y'all.